Hey YouTube, hey Young and the Restless fans, get ready because the action is heating up on The Young and the Restless. This big mystery whodunit story is really going to take another sinister turn as the culprit is still out there prowling around the maze. Someone's out there. We saw what happened to Damien, but Cain thinks he was the intended target. And Nick thinks he's being set up with the lethal weapon now having been placed in Nick's room. Nick found that weapon and went straight to Chance, but now this story is going to take another chilling turn when Nick and Sharon are both going to be held captive under house arrest by Carter, Cain's assistant, Carter. So this story is really heating up in a lot of different ways. And we'll see Billy and Phyllis this week form an alliance. And Nikki, it looks like, is going to be terrified of something when she's backed into a corner. Also, Audra is going to be busted when Kyle calls her bluff. And Sharon and Nick will have to escape their prison, but there's going to be another twist in store with that too. So this sounds like an action-packed Alexander Dumas novel. So let's get into all of the action we can expect next week, the week of July 21st to the 25th. So we saw what happened with Damien and Cain in the maze, and Cain of course thinks that he was the intended victim, but Damien now is gone. And everyone is assuming Cain had to be the one behind this. He seems to have the most motive, because Damien of course was Cain's romantic rival for Lily. So everyone, well, Nick and Lily and Victor too, and are thinking that it was Cain. Lily suspects Cain, Nick, but Phyllis doesn't. She's Team Cain. Phyllis is giving Cain the benefit of the doubt. But Nick thinks Cain is framing him because the weapon of interest was found in Nick's room. Nick thinks that Cain is setting him up. And soon we're going to see Nick want to get out of there. He and Sharon are going to agree to hike down that mountain and go to get help. But not so fast, because Nick and Sharon aren't going to be able to leave. Carter, Cain's assistant, is going to show up and tell Nick that he and Sharon too are being placed under house arrest. I need you to come with me for Mr. Dumas' safety and the peace of mind of all of the rest of the guests. I'm placing you under house arrest. So Carter is going to tell that to Nick, and Sharon of course will have to come along as well. Also, I think it's interesting that Carter continues to refer to Cain as Mr. Dumas. Everyone by now knows that Dumas is Cain. So there's a lot of suspicion surrounding Carter and his involvement in all of this. Carter is going to deny being responsible for what happened to Damien, and we'll get more into that in a minute. But first, spoilers say Nick's plan to escape backfires. Nick and Sharon will find themselves in a dangerous situation when Carter holds them captive, but Nick is going to launch a daring escape attempt. However, Nick is going to get hurt. He's going to get injured in the process. We'll have to see how that happens, if there's a guard that Nick gets into an altercation with, or if it's something else. But Nick will be down with a wound, and spoilers say Billy and Sally work together to help an innocent victim, so it looks like that will be Nick. So we'll see how all of the action plays out. But back to Carter, all of this does raise suspicions about him. Could Carter be the one responsible for Damien? Is Carter the culprit? Carter is certainly acting on his own, it seems, unless he's secretly getting orders from Cain, but I'm not so sure about that. Carter could have his own agenda here. Carter could be going rogue. Maybe in Carter's mind, he's doing what he thinks is in the best interest for his boss, Mr. Dumas. And maybe Cain doesn't know what Carter's up to. So does Carter have some sort of obsessive loyalty to Cain? Is Carter trying to eliminate anyone that he assumes is Cain's enemy? First Damien, because Damien was Cain's romantic rival for Lily, and now possibly Carter could be framing Nick because Nick is going after Cain. We'll have to see, and we don't know if Carter is the culprit. This is all speculation and theory, but things are pointing at Carter. Spoilers say Victor and Chance confront a new suspect, and we'll see Victor and Chance interrogate Carter, and Carter will deny that he did it. "It is true I would do anything for Mr. Dumas," Carter says, "but I did not do what you both think I did." So Carter's going to deny that he was responsible for Damien. Victor will ask Carter if Kane confided in him about his plans for Damien. So Victor seems to think that Kane is the one behind Damien's demise. Victor thinks Kane did this, but could Victor be wrong? Could they be looking at the real culprit, Carter? Carter, who could be acting on his own? We'll have to see. And it looks like Kane won't know about Carter holding Nick and Sharon captive either. But Nick and Sharon will escape, it looks like, but Nick's going to get hurt, he's going to get injured, and Billy and Sally will find Nick, and Sharon too, of course, and it looks like they're going to help with Nick's wound. Hopefully Nick's going to be okay, but Damien is gone, and sadly Amy will have to find out the horrible news soon, so that will certainly be heartbreaking. Someone out there did this, and they're still out there. They're still a threat. So we'll see if we find out who this culprit, this mysterious culprit is soon. Plenty of characters suspect Kane, but I don't think it's Kane. However, there will be plenty of suspicions surrounding him. Kane and Amanda are going to get into an argument this week too, and spoilers say Kane questions Amanda's loyalty. Kane and Amanda will point fingers at each other over the missing security camera footage. There's a large chunk of the footage missing right at the moment the crime takes place. So who sabotaged the footage? Kane told Chance that only he, Amanda, and Carter have access to that room. So we'll have to see. And while all this whodunit mystery is going on, things seem to be taking a sizzling turn for Kyle and Audra. It looks like they're both about to cheat on their partners, but Kyle is going to pull back and admit that he's on to Audra's scheme. Spoilers say Kyle calls Audra's bluff. Kyle will accuse Audra of using Damien's demise as an excuse for a seduction plan, but Audra will deny that and say she's genuinely scared. But Kyle will then assume that the funding for Audra's company Vibrante is dependent on Audra breaking up Kyle and Claire. Of course, Kyle is right. We know that Audra and Victor have this secret deal. And spoilers say Victor demands Audra to hold her end of their bargain. So it looks like Audra could end up in some hot water as Kyle now is onto her. And of course, Audra is going to have to answer to Victor if she can't get Kyle and Claire to break up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Also, Kyle will tell Nikki the truth about Victor's deal with Audra, so Nikki's not going to be happy to hear that. But Nikki this week will be backed into a corner, so what could that mean? Is Nikki going to be in danger this week? Nikki could become terrified very soon, so we'll have to see exactly what takes place. We know the culprit is still out there. Will Nikki hear something in her train car, or will she encounter someone? Will someone come to Nikki's rescue, like Victor or maybe Kane? Stay tuned. And over with Billy and Phyllis this week, they're going to form an alliance when they agree that they have similar interests. Jack will be blindsided by Billy's decision-making, but Billy now is going to want Kane to fund Abbott Communications, as it looks like Jack and Billy will have a falling out as they've been arguing recently about what Billy is doing with Abbott Communications. But look for Billy and Phyllis to form an alliance soon. Also, Lily stands her ground with Phyllis this week, so look for the two to argue over Kane. Kane is under plenty of suspicion, but Kane could very well be innocent in all of this. The real culprit is out there. We'll have to find out who that is. But a lot of exciting action is around the corner this week, and in the preview we see Audra and Lily get spooked by something in the maze. Something will have Lily and Audra feeling unsettled when they hear a noise in the maze, that hedge maze, which also seems to be changing its pathways. So something is going on. Someone's behind all of this. This mystery whodunit is heating up, so stay tuned as more surprises and intrigue are around the corner. We'll keep the updates coming on this thrilling summer story. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Watch The Young and the Restless, CBS Daytime and Paramount Plus, and I'll see you in the next video.